Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, theys, and gays. This is The Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, here. For the first time ever, I've done 2 streams within the same day. Because, all right, so, pardon me. So, really the reason being is that, my neighbors, so I've got 2 cats. You see him obviously in the background in cartoon form. Samuel L. Katzen, who is almost 9. You just saw him walking around the background. He's a good boy. And then our orange, adorable cat Milo, who's about 3. And Milo, unfortunately, gets very scared of very loud, aggressive noises, including fireworks. So unfortunately, fireworks started going off. We have a gate separating the living room and the master bedroom and the bathrooms and everything. And unfortunately, Milo jumped the gate because he got so scared and went and hid out my closet here in the office. So he was scared, but looks like the fireworks have stopped, at least for tonight. Tomorrow's gonna suck. I am not looking forward to that. Yeah, seriously, fireworks are dumb. I know people love them, but I fucking hate fireworks because they set things on fire, they scare kids, people blow their limbs off, and they scare pets. I fucking hate fireworks. So, yeah. So, so if you're setting off fireworks, I'm not a fan of you. I get people going to like the pier and shit to see fireworks, but setting them off yourself, I think, is just it's dumb. But whatever. Who cares what I think? I did want to go ahead real quick. Let's see. Can I share my screen here? I want to shout out my homie Viper Fox. She's having you can find her on Twitch as well at twitch.tv. Let me make sure I get her Twitch right, handle right, because I would feel like an asshole. Let's see, twitch.tv slash Viper Fox. So that's VIPERFOXE. Highly recommend checking her out. She does some really fun stuff, including fight nights on Tekken. She does live art, live drawings. Viper Fox is a homie, a huge fan of hers, and she's doing a summer clear out sale right now on her website. If you like really cool art, she does art prints, she has beanies, she has t-shirts, so she's got a lot of fun stuff on the site, but it's 30% off her entire fucking site. So highly recommend going through her site, seeing if there's anything that you like, and go ahead and support her. She's good people. So shout out to Viper Fox. All right, y'all. So I've been bad about my AEW reviews. I've been bad about being consistent on those, but I wanted to go ahead and be trying to be a little better about it. Want to get back to doing these weekly for sure. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do AEW Dynamite reviews and Collision reviews because Collision is on Saturdays, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do both. But I think what I might start doing potentially is doing like watch-alongs for those, maybe. So I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see how I handle those, but definitely want to see y'all talk more wrestling here on the channel. So let me take a little hit here. Give me just a moment. That's the stuff. It's almost midnight here. It's 10 minutes away from being midnight, so fuck it, it's midnight. So pardon me. So I talked about on the stream earlier how there's really nothing to celebrate for 4th of July. I mean, 4th of July, to be honest, like as someone who grew up with parents who very much were teaching them, you know, a lot of Malcolm X. I've read a lot of Malcolm, listened to a lot of his speeches, and just hearing so much of his stuff growing up. The 4th of July was always one of those holidays I was like, eh. And so even more so with what's going on with the Supreme Court and just in America in general, it does just feel gross to go ahead and celebrate um, uh, July 4th. What I will say for July 4th is for the people who have served our military, who have done what they've been asked, in spite sometimes of our country's best interests, to those people, thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being willing to keep us safe. I salute those people, and to anyone who has to work today, I'm sorry. I hope that the shift flies by for you. And if you're one of those people who needs to get a couple things extra from the grocery store, do that shit early. Like, go to the grocery store at, go to the grocery store at 8, 9 a.m. And I know some people are going like 8, 9 a.m. That's so early. It's not earlier than the fucking people who have to be there. So go ahead, don't be a dick, and go ahead and actually go ahead and try to make things a little easier for people. But with that said, I've ranted enough. I've ranted enough about that. Let's talk some AEW Dynamite. So if y'all have followed the channel, you follow me on socials, I tweet about AEW quite a bit. It's really the only. Actually, that's not true because I do watch a good amount of wrestling. I watch, Defy. I watch AEW. I'll check out Stardom. I'll check out New Japan. I watch Impact when I can. I try to watch as much wrestling as I can, even if it's just clips here and there. I try to stay informed on as many promotions as I can. And AEW is coming off a fantastic Forbidden Door show, which my review is already up on all my channels. You can go ahead and check it. Check my streams out on twitch.tv/The Real Pineapple, and of course on YouTube. Just search The Real Pineapple. That's REEL Pineapple in both cases. I thought it was a great show. I really enjoyed Forbidden Door a lot. Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland. That's a match of the year contender right there. Love that fucking match. Oh my god. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy was a banger. Stephanie Vaquer versus Mercedes Moné. That was an excellent match. Mina Shirakawa versus Timeless Tony Storm. That was a banger. The card was just fantastic, really from top to bottom. A few exceptions. My biggest disappointment being the IWGP title match of Moxley versus Naito. But you can hear my full review on channels right now. But getting to AEW Dynamite, one of the things that has been a criticism from some is that AEW has had a hard time maintaining momentum between pay-per-views and especially like the follow-up show after a pay-per-view. And one of the criticisms that a lot of people, myself included, had last year about AEW's All In Wembley show is that there are so many matches we weren't aware of or had no idea that were taking place until like 10 days before the event. That made things really difficult as far as like to get excited. I mean, yeah, it's in Wembley, and that's a reason to be excited. But as far as being excited for the actual card, it was hard to because of the lack of clarity heading into All In and the event being so close. This year, it feels very different, and I mean that in a extremely good way. This feels like Tony Khan and company have been thinking about this card for 6 months or so, and they've really done a really good job, especially this show, of setting up these pieces for making me go like, okay, I think I know where we're heading some places. Not sure where we are in others, but that makes it all the more exciting. So I'm really excited for what it looks like we're looking to ahead, but I will go ahead and get in that right now. So as far as starting off the night, we started off with a match that I was horribly excited for. Own Heart Foundation Men's Tournament semifinal match. We had the Bastard Pac against the GOAT. I love the man, Bryan Danielson. And this is the first time they've only gone one-on-one. I think Excalibur said like twice. Like they have not gone on one-on-one often. And so I was yeah, they hadn't had a singles match in about 15 years, which is fucking mental that that's the case. But going into this match, I was super excited. Really excited to see what these guys could do. And they really started off slower, working a more methodical pace, which I don't personally mind. I like having a match ramp up as much as I like, you know, just pure acrobatics straight out the gate. A couple of highlights for me. Pac hit this amazing springboard moonsault, which just looked fucking clean as hell. Pac is so fluid in the ring. It really is absurd how effortless he makes everything look. The story, one of the stories of this match was Bryan Danielson, and how he's been pushing through all of these injuries. And I'll say, Bryan Danielson is such a great actor as far as making you think he is hurt, and given his concussion history and everything, there is that element of danger that you're like, oh god, is he hurt? And Danielson plays off that like a motherfucker. He had his neck taped up with the, you know, with that his neck taped up, his shoulder taped up, which is prime real estate for Pac to put on the brutalizer because it focuses on the neck and the shoulders. And so that was the story of the match. It's can Pac get in the brutalizer and score the win over Danielson, and can Danielson go ahead and work through the pain and go ahead and secure a victory? And the back and forth on that was fucking awesome, to be quite frank. Pac did end up getting the brutalizer locked in, but Danielson was able to make it to the ropes. There was this really cool spot where Pac ended up doing the Danielson yes kicks, those kicks to the chest and to the back, and Danielson just started leaning into him and absorbing him. A very cool spot there. There's a moment where Pac went for a German suplex, and Danielson was able to backflip out of it, and then hit this really nice roundhouse kick to the back of the head, which got a 2 count. Danielson was able to knock Pac to the outside. He went for a baseball slide and actually stopped halfway through. So he basically like faked Pac out. So as Pac walked away from the apron, Danielson came charging off of the apron, hit this beautiful running knee right in the fucking chest. That spot was fantastic. I love that spot. It was a subtle thing, but I really enjoyed that. A moment that I legit thought the match was over is Danielson went to the top rope. Pac was able to intercept him and hit a avalanche top rope brainbuster that looked fucking beautiful and brutal. And when Pac hit it, they had me on that. It looked not fun to take that bump. As the match went ahead and got to its conclusion, Danielson hit the Busaiku knee. That running knee strike. He went for the pin, but Pac was able to lock in the brutalizer. Danielson was able to counter that into a roll up, which Pac countered, which Danielson countered into a crucifix, and he got the win. Great fucking match, great fucking opener. I've talked about it on my socials and about wrestling in general. I'm a sucker for a good tournament, and given Owen Hart and his memory, the matches they've been putting on have been great for this tournament. So love this match. I'd give this a solid A-. Absolutely adored this. Great stuff right out the box. So we then went ahead and went to a oh yeah, you know, let me throw this back real quick. So Daniel Garcia in the main event tonight is taking on the aerial assassin Will Ospreay. Maxwell Jacob Friedman, of course, we know as MJF. He is back in the fold. He's been back for about a month. It's been great to have MJF back. Actually, it's been longer than that. He's been back since Double or Nothing, so he's been back since like late May. So, like 5 weeks. But MJF went ahead and told Garcia that he was going to go ahead and be in his corner. And the moment he said he was going to be in his corner, I remember just going, "Crap." How that played into the match, we'll go ahead and we'll get there. But we cut backstage to Renee Paquette, who I adore. Shout out to Renee Paquette, who interviewed Willow Nightingale. God, that woman is thicker than a Snicker, and I love Willow Nightingale. She's such a natural baby face, and you just want her to succeed. She's a great social media follow, by the way, on Twitter. Loved what she was saying during Pride Month about how just being yourself and being able to smile and lifting people up. I fucking love Willow, and she gave a speech that was very reminiscent of Dusty Rhodes' NWA Hard Times promo. Willow is a student of the game. I'm sure she's watched that promo, as most wrestling fans have. If you have not seen the Hard Times promo, definitely just look that up on YouTube. It is well worth the watch. It gives off really what Dusty Rhodes was at his best, like the everyman fighting against the machine. It's so hard to not love Dusty Rhodes. Rest in peace and shout out to the American Dream. But the promo that Willow gave, was about smiling through the pain, even when the world is telling you not to shine. And it was a great fucking promo, and it led to the next match in the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament semifinal. Chris Statlander, Muscle Mommy, hi Statlander, accompanied by Stokely Hathaway, taking on Willow Nightingale. I was really hyped about this match, and considering how they've built up the tension between the two of them, and Statlander turning her back on Willow and aligning with Stokely, I was really hyped for this match. Did it deliver? Well, let's get into it. So actually, before I get there, I mentioned that AEW, that they're setting up quite a bit of stuff moving forward, not just for All In, but for their bigger Dynamites coming up. One of them being Blood and Guts in Nashville, which is the big 5-on-5 match. Typically it's usually 5-on-5 or 4-on-4. Looks like it's going to be 5-on-5 this year. So we're going to have the Elite, which are the Young Bucks, Kazuchika Okada, and the TNT champion, the Scapegoat, Jack Perry. So all four of them champions: the Young Bucks, the the AEW Tag Team Champions, Jack Perry, the newly crowned TNT champion who just won the championship on Sunday, and then Kazuchika Okada, who is the AEW Continental Champion. So four of them on one side. They still have a spot they need to fill versus Team AEW. Mark Briscoe, the ROH World Champion, came out to the ring, cut a great fucking promo. Fucking love Mark Briscoe. He came out, cut this promo, said he's a Team AEW, so he's the first member of Team AEW. It was interesting because Jack Perry came out, laid out Mark Briscoe with the TNT Championship. Then Kyle O'Reilly came down and tried to make the save, but then Okada came out and hit him with the Rainmaker, one of my favorite finishers in all of wrestling. And then when the Elite were going to go ahead and beat down Briscoe and O'Reilly, the Acclaimed, who, keep in mind, do have a championship, tag team championship match guaranteed because of beating the Young Bucks in that Eliminator tag match a couple weeks ago. They are going to go ahead. They went ahead and chased off the Elite. So what's interesting is that they showed Mark Briscoe as the sole member of Team AEW so far, but they didn't have like O'Reilly in that graphic, or they didn't have the Acclaimed in that graphic. I don't know who the other members of Team AEW are going to be. I'm curious about that. I wonder if potentially maybe you get a John Moxley, maybe you get a Claudio Castagnoli. It's going to be interesting to see who goes ahead and joins Team AEW. But yeah, I'm curious. Maybe there's a return. Maybe there's a debut. There are rumors, and have been for a couple months, the Motor City Machine Guns have gone ahead and signed. Them wanting to go ahead and get at the Bucks would make a lot of sense given their history. So, I mean, that's a potential thing. So I'm curious. I'm very curious how the Team AEW roster is going to be built out. Plus, the Elite having one roster slot open for Blood and Guts. It's going to be interesting to see who fills that. So, but a very good promo. Really enjoyed that. I like that that's leading up to Blood and Guts. Another promo that I really liked is that we had Toni Storm talking to her protege Mariah May. Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa just had a banger of a match this past Sunday at Forbidden Door. Definitely seek that out if you haven't seen the match yet. But they were fighting not just for Toni Storm's AEW Women's Championship, but for the love of Mariah May. And I really love the way that storyline went ahead and broke down. And the fact is, they both got Mariah May. Like, the three of them are walked off happily ever after. So I'm really curious how that's going to go ahead and progress and move forward. But Mariah May being in the Owen means that if she wins, which I'm pretty sure she's going to, that she would go ahead and take on Toni Storm at Wembley for the AEW Women's Championship. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they do there, because I'll be the first to admit, Toni Storm's character, I thought it was good. It's been fantastic the last 6 months, I would say. Like, I've loved Toni Storm as a character, but I thought her in-ring work at points was good, not great. She has found the rhythm as far as wrestling within the gimmick while staying true to the character. Toni Storm has been excellent. And if we do get her versus Mariah May, just the story on that alone is going to be fantastic. And Mariah May has really proven herself to be a great babyface in peril. So when Mariah May, because I think this is what's going to happen. I think Mariah May is going to be the one to turn bad, to turn heel on Timeless Toni Storm. It's going to be interesting to see what that looks like. Does Toni Storm or does Mariah May like turn against Mina Shirakawa as well? Does she rejoin Club Venus on that front? Does she take Luther, Toni Storm's butler? Like, there's a lot they could do with her and I'm really curious to see where that's gonna go. But I've loved what they've been doing with Timeless Toni Storm and Mariah May, and how at first Toni Storm couldn't be bothered to give a shit about Mariah May, but now she thinks of her as, like a daughter, a protege, a lover. I really love the way that they've built up that storyline. I think it's the best storyline going in wrestling right now, which is pretty wild, because my biggest complaint about AEW for the last year, I would say, has been the booking of the women's division. There's been a lot of start-stop with it. And I've been very frustrated because, given the roster they have with Riho, with Hikaru Shida, with Serena Deeb, with Willow Nightingale, with Chris Statlander, with Sky Blue, with Julia Hart, with Britt Baker, with Mercedes Moné, with Queen Aminata, with Kira Hogan. I'm mentioning some ROH people too, but with Athena, with Billy Starks, with Layla Hirsch, like, there are so many women there that are talented, with Thunder Rosa, with Deanna Purrazzo. Like, there's so many fucking talented women there. And it really feels like AEW's gone out of their way to go like, okay, we need to really focus on women's wrestling and build this division up and make it a priority. And they've done a great job with that. I will say now, the big one of the things that they need to focus on is the tag team division, as far as building the tag division back up. You've got tag teams there. I mean, you've got like the Butcher and the Blade, you've got Top Flight, you've got Private Party, you've got the Young Bucks, you've got House Kings of the Black Throne. You've got the Acclaimed, you've got the Lucha Bros. You have tag teams there. But you need to go ahead and just use them and start filling out stories. I think signing like the Motor City Machine Guns, like grizzled young veterans, would be very beneficial for the tag division and go ahead and give it some new life. I'd really like to see the Dark Order get back involved. Give me Alex Reynolds and John Silver as that tag combination, because they're a great tag team combination. Pardon me. So that takes us to the Will Nightingale versus Chris Statlander match. Another great fucking match in this tournament. One thing I really like, I love Statlander's new entrance theme and her new entrance video. I love it. it's very reminiscent of the opening to Take On Me, which always kind of gets a smirk out of me whenever she comes out. But one thing I love about this opening is that, given the severity of their feud and the intensity and the hatred, Chris Statler came out first, being the bad girl, and then Willow Nightingale comes out, and Chris Statlander doesn't even wait for Willow to actually get in the ring. She goes ahead and meets her at the ramp, and they start fighting. That's how it should be. That's how a grudge match should feel. It should feel that intense and that dirty and that ugly. And I appreciate that they went ahead and they just got right in each other's faces right out the gate. Statlander went for a clothesline and on the ramp, and Willow hit this amazing pounce that Chris Statlander sold like fucking death. Went ahead and rolled all the way down the ramp. Willow probably sent Statlander flying 2 feet. It was a great fucking hit that she caught her with, but really great start to the to the match. I really enjoyed that. Moving forward, Statlander took control, was able to hit a clothesline, work Willow's neck and shoulders over. Willow was able to go ahead and make a comeback, hit this really awesome clothesline that Statlander sold like death, went flying through the air, actually did like a spinning, almost like cartwheel in the air, but only got a 2 count. Statlander was able to go ahead and get back control, was able to go ahead and hit a really nice axe kick for a really close 2 count. Willow was able to kick out, but then Statlander hit a really impressive like dead left German suplex. I know a lot of people say, like Rhea Ripley. I don't know if there is a stronger women's wrestler right now working than Chris Statlander. She might be the strongest. I'm not saying Ripley's not strong, because I mean she clearly is, but man, like that deadlift was a thing of beauty. Fucking love the way that was delivered. Statlander goes ahead and hits an F5. I mean, Brock Lesnar's not going to be using it for a while. Love that. I actually hope Statlander uses the F5 more. That's a move she should be using, and it actually fits in her arsenal really well. But in the end, and I will say this was kind of surprising, Stokely Hathaway goes ahead and tries to get Statlander a chain. Statlander gets the chain, goes to Willow, ducks, and Willow goes ahead and rolls her up for the quick 3 count. My only real gripe is I wasn't crazy about 2 matches in the tournament back to back ending off roll-ups. That's really my only gripe with this. I get why you do it, because you want to have like Pac still look strong in defeat, and you want to have Statlander still look strong in defeat. So I get why you did it. I understand the function. I just wasn't crazy about back to back roll-ups. But the fact that it was more of a wrestling move versus kind of being lucky does make it go down a little, the medicine go down a little smoother, but still wasn't crazy about it. Even with that said, I would still give this match a B+. I really enjoyed this match, and Statlander is going to take on next week the winner of Hikaru Shida and Mariah May. And then for Bryan Danielson, he's going to take on the winner of Jay White and the winner of a match later on, which I will get to here in a moment. So one of the big things that happened from this past Sunday is that Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, who has not wrestled a match since, I believe it was like September 21st last year. I think that's right. But she hasn't wrestled a match in literally 9-10 months. But she's back and she's cleared, and she went ahead and came out to a great ovation. Was really happy for her. She goes ahead, walks out to a great ovation, gets in the ring, gives Tony Schiavone, one of her best friends in real life, gives him a big hug. That was a really cool moment, and I won't lie, I teared up at that because I'm a big old softie. So Britt really came out, and I don't know how much of it was scripted, but it really felt like she was shooting from the hip, which I think is actually a good thing, and actually made this whole promo come across more real and authentic. So um, I actually enjoyed that. So with that said, Britt Baker came out and talked about how, you know, um, everything in life, there's a beginning, middle, and end, and how, you know, you need to be able to press forward, and, you know, you learn about the past, you reflect on the past, but you don't let it dictate your future. And, you know, talking about the recovery process and the fear of rejection. um I I love this promo from Baker. Um, I've always thought that Baker just comes across better as a natural heel, but if you see her in interviews and stuff, she's so fucking likable. She's very charming, gorgeous, obviously. Um, if you're not following Baker on Instagram, on socials, she's been doing like the DDP yoga. She's been in the lab. She's been putting in work, and like her abs, like she's in the best shape I've seen her since she joined AEW. She's always been in you know, great shape, but this felt like this feels different. This feels like she's on a mission to be the best woman in AEW. I'm very curious how she's going to be booked moving forward as other women do go ahead and come in. But she talked about the fear of rejection, but was talked about how grateful she was that she returned at the pay-per-view, and how people didn't forget about her, and how she doesn't need piped in uh piped in chants like Mercedes does when you hear the CEO chants, how the most important letters in AEW are, as she goes, DMD. That was fantastic. I love that. This felt like Baker not just reintroducing herself to the audience, but really introducing herself to herself, and really buying into the fact that she's back and that she can do this at a high level, at the highest level. So Mercedes Moné came out. What was very interesting is that Mercedes Moné arrives at the arena for her championship, double championship celebration, because not only is she the TBS champion, but she is the New Japan Strong Women's champion. So what I loved about this is that we see Mercedes Moné go ahead and get to the arena, but she goes ahead and she runs into our EVPs, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, the Young Bucks, the AEW Tag Team Champions. I love the fact that they had the interaction, and it makes me go, okay, I could see this. I could see this being a thing, because straight up, it feels like they've been teasing Mercedes Moné joining the Elite, and CEO fitting of the EVPs would make so much sense. Furthermore, the CEO gimmick in itself is such a heel gimmick. It was really funny to see people go like, "Oh my god, they turned Mercedes heel," and I'm like, "No, she's been a heel for like this whole time." She came across like a total bitch in the Willow feud. She's very condescending as a CEO. So I'm a huge fan of Mercedes Moné. I'm happy she bet on herself and knows her worth, but the CEO gimmick is a heel gimmick. So people acting surprised, I was like, no, this is exactly what I would expect. And I'm actually very happy that she's leaning into being a heel. There's this moment where the crowd was chanting DMD instead of CEO, and Mercedes legit looked disgusted, like, what the fuck are y'all doing? I love that. Like, Mercedes Moné did so much acting with her face, and Baker went ahead and did what we all pretty much expected she would do. She said, "I want you 101 at All In Wembley," which, hell yeah. Whether you like Britt Baker, whether you like Mercedes Moné or not, that's a money, pun intended, match. That's a match you can fucking sell. That's a match that deserves to have 60,000 people watch it. I'm excited. We're clearly getting that match. But Mercedes Moné did bring up a point that I'm happy that she brought up. She basically went like, "Who the fuck are you to go ahead and just step to to go ahead and step to me. Like, she flat out says, like, you need to go to the back of the line, bitch. And I went, yeah, okay, that's fair. Baker had a great retort, looked behind Mercedes. Of course, no one's behind her, and goes, bitch, what line? I love that. Like, the intensity in this feud already, I'm like, okay, I'm very excited to see how this feud evolves and where we're heading here. Baker is clearly going to have to earn her way to the match, which, you know, she should have to, because one of my criticisms about WWE with Charlotte Flair is that whenever she comes back from an injury or from vacation, they just stick her right back into a title program. It's like, yep, she's Charlotte Flair. No needing to earn it. So I appreciate the fact that Baker is clearly going to have to go through some steps to go ahead and get to Mercedes Moné, because she should have to. But yeah, this was a great promo between these two women. Already feeling the intensity and really excited to see to go ahead and see where this continues to go. So we had the Cage of Agony versus Samoa Joe, Shibata, and Hook. I'm loving that trio, by the way, of Joe, Shibata, and Hook. So very fun 6-man tag. A lot of big boys, big beefy boys running around the ring. A lot of hard strikes. I will just say, and look, I'm as big an AEW fan as anyone. I'm so over Jericho. Like, this Jericho learning tree shit just needs to stop. I am so over it. I don't like it. I want him to stop with this shit. He was getting they were in Chicago tonight, and he was getting the please retire chants. I know some people are like, oh, like it's that good heat. No, it's not. He needs to go away. Like, I'm over Jericho. I don't want to see Jericho anymore. But this is a fun tag match. Hook Shibata and Joe end up going ahead and getting the win. Okay, moving on to the other match in the Owen Hart men's tournament quarterfinal. We had Jeff Jarrett, who tag teamed with Owen up until his passing, which, man, fucking tragic. I think they said they tagged together for like 72 matches. I think they said 72, 75 matches, something like that. So we didn't know who Jarrett's opponent was. Most people had an idea, and most people, myself included, were correct. It was the returning Hangman Adam Page, who came out to a new theme song, which I really like. It has this like Red Dead Redemption sort of dark undertones to it. Hangman came back, big old bushy mustache, changed up the attire a little bit. Really like how they're presenting Hangman Page. And I will say too, this was a great fucking match. Jeff Jarrett is on the whole, I think it's like 50. I think I know Jeff Jarrett's in his 50s. Let's see. Jeff Jarrett is 56. That is wild. And I'll be real, Jeff Jarrett's still in great fucking shape and can still move around the ring really well. Has one of the best right hands I've ever seen from a pro wrestler. But him being Owen's real friend, it was really cool to see him in this tournament. There is no part of me that thought that he would win. Any sane person wouldn't think that he would win. And so the result was never in doubt. We knew that Jeff Jarrett was going to lose, but this was about giving Jarrett some good hope spots, and a couple that actually got me, but reintroducing the crowd and the AEW audience to this new version of Hangman Page. So one of the things that I loved is that, of course, the last time that we saw Hangman Page, he talked about how he'd rather die than let Swerve become the new AEW champion. And while Heyman was gone, Swerve did just that. He became AEW champion. So there is a part of me that goes, okay, do we get Swerve Hangman for the title? does Hangman potentially help cost Swerve the title? Like there's some interesting dynamics at play with what you do with Hangman. I'm very curious. But with that said, he was yelling at the fans because there were some fans who were chanting Swerve's house. And Heyman was just getting pissed off. Like, there's a point where he audibly yells, "What did you say?" Like, at the audience. I love that shit. But Heyman really dominant throughout most of this match. But Jarrett was able to turn around. He hit one of his finishers, the stroke, which is a front Russian leg sweep. Hit that on the ring apron. Almost got a count victory. Heyman got into the ring just at 9. Barely made it in time, but he did make it in. Hangman went for the buckshot lariat, and this is where they actually got me. Hangman does that flipping springboard lariat into the ring called the buckshot. Jarrett was able to counter it, ankle picked him, turned it into the sharpshooter. A great looking sharpshooter, by the way. People take notes on how to fucking do the sharpshooter. Like, goddamn, there shouldn't be kids who can put on the sharpshooter better than some of these wrestlers. But Jarrett actually put it on right, sat back on it, looked great. I was like, oh shit, let's go. But Hangman was able to go ahead and get to the ropes. And the crowd booed. I love that. Like, the crowd was getting behind Jeff Jarrett. It's like, okay, like, let's go. But in the end, Hangman, and this is a subtle thing for his new character, but I loved it. Hangman hit the buckshot lariat and didn't go for a pin. He just got right into a full mount and just started beating the shit out of Jeff Jarrett. Picked him up, hit the dead eye, and then pinned him. 1, 2, 3. Hangman Page moves on in the tournament. So Bryan Danielson is already in the finals for the men's bracket. He will take on the winner of Hangman Page versus Jay White this Saturday on Collision. Jay White and Hangman Page have a lot of history dating back to their time in New Japan. So I'm really excited to see how they're going to go ahead and portray that, as well as their time in Ring of Honor. So I'm really excited to see how they're going to go, what kind of match those two men are going to put together. But that was absolutely great. Moving on, we cut backstage to Will Ospreay, who was our current AEW International Champion / my man crush. And Will Ospreay just straight up, as you know, he's been with Don Callis. He's been a member of the Don Callis family really since his introduction into AEW. And as we've seen Ospreay gain notoriety here in AEW, become the international champion, challenge for the AEW championship this past Sunday, there was that point where Don Callis handed Will Ospreay the screwdriver, the same screwdriver he used to help beat Kenny Omega at Forbidden Door last year and become the IWGP United States champion. He went ahead and handed him that same screwdriver. Ospreay didn't use it, ended up losing the swerve, partially because of the distraction of Don Callis. And so he tells Don Callis straight up, I don't want to be in the family anymore. I'm not the same person I was that when I joined. I'm grateful to you, but it's time for me to do this on my own. And Callis was very cool about it. He's like, yeah, normally I don't let people out who signed a contract with me, but I'll go ahead and let you out. And this was the ominous line. He goes, and yeah, I'm doing you a favor, and hey, maybe someday I'll ask you for a favor. And that favor is not going to be something Ospreay is going to want to do. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they book that and how they book Ospreay moving forward. I personally think, you know what? Never mind. We'll get to that here after we talk about this match. So our main event, Daniel Garcia, who's been building up momentum, has been on a huge win streak ever since AEW Revolution. Hasn't lost a one-on-one match since then. That match was one-on-one for the TNT title against Christian Cage. Ever since then, I think they said Daniel Garcia's won like 14 straight matches, I believe. But he went ahead and took on the aerial assassin Will Ospreay. So this match, I was excited for it. I thought these two men would show out. Daniel Garcia is only, I believe Daniel Garcia is 25. Like, he's still a very young dude. Will Ospreay is 31. Like he's hitting his prime right now, which is fucking insane to think about. And he's meant to put on another fucking banger. Will Ospreay is having it's either for me, it's Will Ospreay or it's Bryan Danielson right now as the best wrestler in the world. And I think you could make a case for either one. I personally go back and forth almost daily on it. Swerve Strickland is also in that conversation too, because Swerve is putting on fucking bangers with everybody right now. I think those three men are going at it right now for who's the best on the planet, personally. Some highlights from the match. Ospreay controlled a lot of this match, hit several really stiff chops right off the gate. Ospreay and Garcia engaged in quite a lot of chain wrestling, which I'm always a big fan of seeing chain wrestling, but Ospreay went to go ahead and flip out of this hold. Garcia turned into like a really quick spike pile driver. I've never seen that done before. That was actually a very clever counter. Ospreay goes ahead and hits a springboard plancha over the ropes. Springboard crossbody plancha takes out Garcia, and we get the tease. We get another tease of MJF and Will Ospreay, which I'm very intrigued by. I'll get back to that in a moment. Garcia ends up, pardon me, taking a big giant boot to the face, shakes it off, is able to go ahead and hit a snap neck breaker, rolls through, picks it back up, hits another snap neck breaker, gets a very close 2 count. Garcia goes for a running clothesline. Ospreay flips through it, hits a Spanish fly for a close 2 count. That looked great, by the way. There's a point where Ospreay's talking shit, puts his hands behind his back and puts his head down, like come on, kick me in the face, like do something. And Daniel Garcia did his fucking I know I'm doing the dance horribly wrong. It's midnight, kid, cut me some slack. But Garcia does his hilariously awkward dance and is fucking like thrusting against Will Ospreay's face, which was fucking hilarious and amazing. So Ospreay slaps him. Garcia immediately responds with an open palm strike, which looked fucking amazing. But Ospreay goes for a hidden blade. Garcia is able to duck it, but Ospreay counters that to a power bomb, which then he picks him up, deadlifts him, hits a Styles Clash, very close 2 count. Ospreay went for the hidden blade again. Garcia was able to duck, jumped on his back, got a sleeper hold on. Ospreay tried to power out of it. Garcia turns it around to a front chancery, turns it into a guillotine choke, which Ospreay is able to go ahead and get out of. Ospreay goes ahead and goes for the Oz cutter, his springboard cutter off the ropes. Garcia counters it. It's a spike power driver that Jerry Lynn would be very proud of. Gets a very, very close 2 count. And then the end of the match, MJF, and I pointed this out to my friends. I was like, that's very interesting. MJF came out to the ring and he was wearing the Dynamite Diamond ring, which MJF has had for the last 3 years. He's won the Battle Royal last 3 years in a row. He goes ahead and he offers the Dynamite Diamond ring up to Will Ospreay or to Daniel Garcia, tells him to hit Ospreay with it. Garcia goes, no, I want to go ahead and win this the right way. Turns around into a ridiculous hidden blade. Go on Twitter and look this up, y'all. The hidden blade Ospreay hit him with took his fucking head off. It was fucking perfect. Hits the hidden blade, gets the 3 count. Will Ospreay retains the international championship. I'll be the first to admit I thought Ospreay was going to lose tonight. I thought this was Garcia's time. I thought Garcia, I thought the Don Callis family was going to turn on Ospreay tonight. But no, not tonight. Ospreay retains. So what I love about this match is Ospreay goes over to Garcia after the match and goes, like, dude, you're amazing. Like, you can hear him say, like, it wasn't your night tonight, but you're the future, basically. And pats him on the shoulder, gives him a hug, and then leaves. So MJF comes in the ring and picks up Garcia, gives him a hug and says, like, dude, that's on me. Like, I fucked up. Like, you fought your ass out. You wrestled your ass off. Lifts Garcia's hand up. Everyone cheers. And then MJF kicks him square in the dick And honestly, y'all, I knew this was coming. Most of us knew this was coming. Adam Cole, I just don't think he's going to be back for another maybe 3 or 4 months. It might be longer. It might be 6 months. But MJF coming back as a face, a good guy, made sense given how he was taken out by the Undisputed Kingdom and the whole Devil storyline. But you knew that shit was never gonna be maintained because MJF is a bastard. You know, he's a scumbag. He's our scumbag. He's said this for months. And so it was just a matter of time until he turned. And what I love about this angle is the viciousness of it. He beat the absolute shit out of Daniel Garcia, busted him open with the Dynamite diamond ring, yelled in the camera, you know, did I restore the feeling? Did I restore the feeling? Mocking fans who said that MJF needed to be back to inject some life in the AEW. He hit him with a middle rope tombstone power driver. He got stretchered out. Daddy Magic came out to try to go ahead and help Daniel Garcia. MJF hit him off the apron with the Dynamite diamond ring, busted him open. Officials came out trying to stop MJF. MJF beat them up. This was a great fucking end to Dynamite. Plus, there was a run over for Dynamite, so they didn't have to rush this angle. There was a lot of time to let the shit breathe. MJF came across like a total bastard, a total heel. MJF actually had to be separated by security because he got up right in the fan's face. That fan was ready to throw down. Like he was telling MJF that he was a piece of shit and to go fuck himself. Like it was intense. But MJF came across like an absolute bastard. Came across like an absolute total prick, which is what MJF is best at. He's great at playing an absolute piece of shit. And so we had to get there eventually. I'm happy this is the way they got there. There have been some rumors about Daniel Garcia and his contract status. I don't think if you're letting MJ, I don't know if Daniel Garcia, if he hadn't resigned, I don't think you give him this great match on the way out. I don't think you give him the ring endorsement from Will Ospreay and even from MJF, even though he did turn on him. So I think Daniel Garcia is resigned. And at 25 years old, I really hope that Tony Khan re-signed him to like a 5-year deal. Hopefully give him a nice pay raise. And this is going to be the feeling. Hey, what up, AT? So that's going to be the mood moving forward. So there's a couple ways I think this can go. MJF. I think MJF Ospreay for the International Championship, that feels like where we're heading. And that is worthy of a match at All Out. That is a huge marquee level matchup. Honestly, that's a match that could main event, quite frankly. I'm really excited. MJF, he's actually back already. Sorry, I got shout out to the Afternoon Tune as I'm talking to them in chat. Yeah, so I think MJF Ospreay, I think that's where we're heading for All In. Daniel Garcia got stretchered out, so it's going to be very interesting to see how long they keep Daniel Garcia out for. So, oh hey, what's going on? So here's the thing: I don't know what you do with MJF from this perspective. There's a couple directions they could go. MJF could join the Elite for Team Elite, since there is one spot open. There is a world where MJF goes ahead and joins the Elite. I think the other very plausible scenario, which I know some people won't want to hear, but I think this is an interesting idea. What if MJF joins the Don Callis family? I know the Don Callis family has had, varying results, and I know people, talk shit about how Takeshita has been booked. And I'll admit, I would have liked to have seen Takeshita be TNT champion or international champion. I think Roman Reigns. So I don't follow WWE a ton, but I know that Reigns has been out since Mania. I think SummerSlam is too soon. I know some people are going to say they want him back by SummerSlam. I don't think it's SummerSlam. I think Reigns is back at Survivor Series. That would be my my guess. The Shield premiered or debuted at Survivor Series. I think that's where Reigns comes back. I do know that the Bloodline beat down Paul Heyman, put him through the announce table earlier or last week. So I think you. I mean, we're in July, so it's August. So it's August, September, October, November. That's 4 months. I mean, honestly, I think you can have Heyman off TV for 4 months. I don't think you really need him back. Now, I understand that he's been like one of the reasons why some people are still engaged in the storyline. I'm personally over the Bloodline storyline personally. But I will give Heyman all the credit in the world for finding a way to just continue to make it work and just to be, the brilliant mofo that he is. But I think Survivor Series is when Reigns is going to be back. I could be wrong, and they could pull the trigger at SummerSlam. I fully acknowledge that. They might rush it. But I think for maximum impact, I think you let people kind of forget about it a little bit. I think you wait till Survivor Series, personally. But back to AEW. I think MJF leading the Don Callis family, a revamped version of the Don Callis family, because keep in mind, MJF, like, the Pinnacle was a thing. That was Sean Spears, Wardlow, FTR, and MJF. That really never got a chance to gain momentum due to some injuries, some bad booking. MJF leading a new version of the Don Callis family could be very interesting. Plus, if you really want to keep MJF heel, if you really want to drive home the fact that he's a piece of shit and that he's an asshole, teaming him up with Don Callis would make the most sense. I think what's going to end up happening is, I think that is going to happen. I think MJF, with help from Don Callis, is going to go ahead and become the international champion at All In. I think he'll beat Will Ospreay. I think there's even a potential world where they kayfabe injure Will Ospreay, and that leads to Mark Davis. I think it's Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay reforming Aussie Open and going against the Don Callis family throughout the fall. I think that's where we're heading, personally. So, but yeah, this promo, this angle made MJF look incredibly dangerous. It reinforced his heel character. It did several things. It accomplished a lot. So I'm really excited to see where we're heading. Plus, MJF is going to be opening up AEW Collision on Saturday night. I'm assuming he'll give some sort of reasoning for his actions and for the beatdown of Daniel Garcia. But I'm hyped. I'm really hyped to see what they're doing with MJF moving forward. And yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for this piece of shit MJF. I'm really excited. Yeah. But yeah, great addition to Dynamite, really from start to finish. Outside the Jericho shit, which gag, but outside of that, great fucking promo. I had so much fun with this show. And again, just kind of going down the card, the potential card for All In, Mercedes Moné versus Britt Baker, MJF versus Will Ospreay. I'm going to say, I don't know who's going to be fighting for the tag titles, but Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson, potentially, or Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page. I mean, those are money matches right there. So it feels good to see where we're kind of potentially heading and getting some ideas on some of these matches. So, Mariah May versus Toni Storm, that's a banger right there. So I'm so excited. I'm really excited for All In. And the fact that it's a London show, that means that I think over here it'll start at 11, noon, something like that. So there's some really good stuff down the pipeline for AEW, and it really feels like they're like they're really gaining momentum, and I'm excited. I'm really excited to see where we're heading. But yeah, y'all, what did you think about AEW Dynamite? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, I love this episode of Dynamite. This is a solid A for me. Like I said, moving forward, I'm going to try to go ahead and be better about these AEW Dynamite reviews. I'm going to try to do them on Wednesdays, right after the show, ideally. But I had another stream earlier today, but I felt motivated. So I was like, fuck it, let's talk about tonight. So, but I adored this episode. Solid A for me. But yeah, I think I'm going to talk Collision. Maybe I'll do it on Sunday. If I do decide to do that, I will let y'all know, because this was going to be a separate stream later in the week, but did it now. So yeah, you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/TheRealPineapple. Go ahead and follow me on YouTube as well at The Real Pineapple. That's REEL Pineapple. You can follow the podcast pretty much wherever you listen to them. SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneUp, and Samsung Podcasts, to name a few, at The Real Pineapple. You can follow me on the Twitter, on Twitter, on pardon me, on Instagram, and then also on TikTok at JHunter Real Pineapple. That's a J Hunter, and then REEL, and then Pineapple. And you can follow me on Letterboxd, that Black Shazam. Coming down the pipeline, y'all, I've got several indie film reviews coming up for y'all, including reviews for this film called Queen's Rising, Blackwater Lane, Goldilocks and the Two Bears, and Midas, all with accompanying reviews with cast and crew for those. So I'm really excited to go ahead and get those out to y'all. So those will all be dropping for the next week. Friday, I will have a review. I'll probably be reviewing Maxine and Despicable Me 4. Actually, that'll probably be Sunday. But my schedule is up right now on the on my YouTube, or on my Twitch right now. But I will keep y'all updated on any other changes. But I'm really excited. Oh yeah, that was another thing. My reviews for Beverly Hills Cop 1 through 4 will be up this weekend. I reviewed all of them, including Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. I will have reviews as well for all the Despicable Me's, Despicable Me 1 through 3, as well as Despicable Me 4. In the next couple of weeks, I'll have reviews up for Loki season 1 and 2, as well as X-Men Origins Wolverine, all leading up to Deadpool and Wolverine, coming out in a couple weeks. And I will also, in a couple weeks, have a review up for Twister, as well as a review for Twisters, coming up in a couple weeks as well. So a lot of content coming down the pipeline for y'all. So if you haven't subscribed yet, definitely subscribe everywhere. Go ahead and hit the bell. Make sure notifications are on so you know when new content is coming out for y'all. Thank you so much, everyone who watched. Again, it is officially the 4th of July. So for those of you who are working today, I'm sorry. I hope your shift flies by. I hope people are kind to you. Hope people give you grace. To those of you who do have to run the store or something later on, do that shit early in the day. Make it easy for your local grocery workers. They deserve that shit. If you're gonna be setting off fireworks, don't be setting them off like at midnight. Like for those people who have pets like myself, like make it easier on us, please, for fuck's sake. But yeah, y'all, I know the world is a lot right now. I know the world is heavy. I know there's a lot going on, but what I'll tell you, people, is just keep your head up. Please vote. Please fucking vote. There's one very clear, obvious answer. I will trust y'all to be smart and figure out which one I'm leaning towards. But give yourself some grace this weekend. Please relax. Try to spend some time with your family. Enjoy your burgers, enjoy your hot dogs, all that stuff. But thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. And never forget, as always, to keep it real. I will talk to y'all soon.